afternoon, sir.
So yeah, let's start. We're already 21 already. So
It's okay,
good
chair.
afternoon, guys. How have you been? And this is the start for our what's it called? Sorry, can you please mute yourself?
Nítorí tó bá pọ̀, wọ́n máa gbọ́ ṣàǹjẹ̀.
Sorry, can you please mute yourself?
Wọlé gbé mi wá.
Hello. Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I am.
So welcome, guys, to this training. And today we'll be starting like from the grassroots of design generally. So you need zero experience to get started. And I'll be taking you through the whole design process and UX process, like I said earlier in our what's it called, onboarding meeting, or let me say question and answer meeting. So have you all downloaded the app I said you guys should download, Figma and Slack?
Yes, we have.
Okay, what about the account? Have you opened a LinkedIn account, Twitter account, Instagram account, Medium, and which
Yeah.
other one? Yeah, I think Medium. Yeah. And Behance account.
Yes, sir, we have.
Okay, so let's proceed to the yeah. So this is design foundation and its principle. I'll be taking you through the whole course, and who are you guys joining now? You guys will have to wait too. Okay, so let's get started. This is design foundation and its principle. So first of all, I would like to say this, guys. See, this is a let me say this is a charity kind of work for me, and it will be consuming me. It will be costing me a whole 3 months. Let me say it will cost me a whole 3 months. I'm not getting paid for this thing, and all I really want is like your seriousness, because I don't want the kind of situation whereby I will be giving in so much effort and I won't be seeing any results. So that's the reason why I already draft out the whole process for the class, and if you know that you won't be able to cope, you can still leave at this very early stage, because we will soon get started and things will soon get real. But I can assure you, after this whole training, don't worry, you will start getting gigs and you can actually boost yourself as a UI UX designer. So like I said earlier, you need zero skills and I will be taking you from the grassroots. So let's get started. First, what is design? So basically, design is anything around us. Millions of years ago, the way people don't even have good clothes. They use, let me say, they use leaves and some other stuff to cover their body. But eventually, based on design, based on the fact that they were able to innovate, they were able to create solutions to their problem and get something much more fancy and much more eye catching. If you should carry a notebook, if you should have, let me say, like a notebook in like 10,000 years ago, then probably the notebook might worth how many, might worth millions of. millions tons of goods because of the design. They don't have this kind of design at that very particular time, and they believe okay, if this very small stuff can be solving so much problem, because they normally use, let me say, slate and some kind of writing materials which consumes a whole lot of energy in doing. So, and they believe that if they can be solving like so much problem with this very particular small tools, they are ready to pay for it. So that is design and its evolution. So design is like creating problem and making things much more fancy. Well, sorry, creating solutions to problem and making things much more fancy. So I can see design means to create a plan or sketch of something that is going to be made later, especially a plan that details what the finished things will do and will look like. Like I said earlier, design is like creating solutions to what? To problem. That is design. So moving to the next slide, what is graphics design? Because we will be starting from, let me say, graphic design or normal design. Graphic design is a craft whereby professionals create visual content to communicate message by applying visual hierarchy, page layout, techniques. Designer use typography and pictures to what? To meet user specific need and focus on the logic of displaying elements in interactive design to optimize what? To optimize the user experience. So this is what graphic design mean. Graphic design is a form of design whereby we create layout for anything, we create layout and designs for anything and make it much more visual appealing to the users we are trying to pass information across. So design basically means like passing information across to people by what? By creating some kind of sketch and something that will be tackling so problem. For example, if you design a newspaper, then you actually design it in such a way that users will be able to what? To read it, and all the information you want them to get, they will be able to get it just by reading it with the way you structure your designs on the newspaper. So design has element and has, let me say, principles. What constitute of a what actually constitute a design? So number one is lines. Lines are the most basic of design elements. Anything in design is what? Is a line. Okay, for example, dis lines in design was drawn by what? By joining multiple lines together. When you join multiple lines together, you create shapes, you create anything in design, and that's how design work. So line is the like basic and fundamental of any form of design. When you are drawing a line can be curve, can be straight, can be diagonal, can be in any form of shape. But the way you were able to interpret those line and the way you were able to draw it for people to interpret it, so that is what that is the reason why line is a very essential part in design. So that's lines. And the next one is shapes. We have like three different type of shape, or let me say four. Basically, we have geometric, cycle, geometric shapes, sorry, examples of geometric shapes are circles, squares and triangles. And we also have some, let me say, geometric shapes which are like star, we have hexagonal, we have different form of shapes. So shapes, to when you are doing, let me say, UI UX, then you should know how to like combine shapes and merge them together, combine it and make it visual appealing for users to be able to use. So shapes are also in form of boxes, borders on a design, or solid shapes for decorative purposes. So you also have shapes in form of icons, in form of symbols, in form of, no, what is this? Yeah, in form of dingbats. Okay. So moving to the next one after shapes, we have textures. So textures basically is how you perceive, let me say, how you perceive any form of design like line shapes. So for example, maybe many of us know cloth now. Once you touch a cloth, you know that okay, this cloth is very light. Once you touch some, you know that this one is very thick. Once you see some clothes, you know that okay, this is very visual appealing, but just a change in texture will give it a different look. So that's what texture is all about. And moving to the next one, which is typography. In UI UX design, I will really advise us or like to know typography very well. If you are missing typography, then you are missing a whole lot. So typography is what is everywhere we look. If you should look into any design, any form of stuffs nowadays, both graphics and UI UX design, then you must see typography. In the books we read, there is typography there, in website, in newspaper, in our day to day life, we always have typography. And one of the reasons why typography is very essential is because the way you arrange your typography in form of size, in form of weight, in form of shape, will be the one to like, let me say, to like tell the users, okay, this is what I'm trying to, this is the information I'm trying to pass across. For example, okay, so for example, if you are talking about typography, you can see that this very particular text has a what, has a certain width, it has a 62 pixel font size, and the one at the bottom has 16 pixel font size. Why are we not using the same font size? Because I want people to see this especially before they can be able to what, to read any other thing on the platform. So that is an example of typography. Whichever information you are trying to pass across, you can pass it across through the hierarchy of your typography, and the color, the way it looks, any other stuff form under what, under as like subcategories under typography. The bigger your font, the more users are able to like catch whatever information you are passing across. And when you will apply, let me say, hierarchy to your designs, then you will know, okay, you will know what users should, you know what you want users to read first. Like if you should open this page, like this very particular slide, what will you first read? You'll be reading what is typography. How it be the other subtext that are under the what is typography has the same font size as what is typography, you might find it difficult to locate what is typography, and your eyes will be diverted to somewhere else, which is the remaining body text, because that is much more bigger and they all have the same kind of font. So moving to the next one, which are the common type of fonts we have. We have three basic type of fonts. We have serif font, we have sans serif, and we have display. Many of us are used to serif font because in schools we do project, we do term paper, and they will always advise you to what, to use serif. If you use any other font apart from serif, many of the lecturers will be like, okay, go and reprint, go and do this, go and do that. People have it, will have that kind of problem a lot when it comes to projects. Some lecturers don't accept any other font apart from sans serif. So what is serif font? Serif font has this very extended serif merging to his what, his main element. For example, we have can you all see my mouse?
Yes, we can see, but
Yes,
kindly
we
allow some
can.
people
Alright, so for
to make
example, we
opportunity
have
to join the call.
this S figure.
Yes,
The main X, the main X component is inside, and this very attached two edges are the what, are the serif part of it. So that's the reason why we call it serif. Any font say that you see that okay is promoting much more like elegance and is having some kind of extended part at edge, then that is serif font. And moving to the next one, which is what, which is sans serif font. Sans serif is any form of font that doesn't have those kind of extended, they looks like serif font but they don't have this what, this extended part. As you can see, I've indicated it in the what, in the picture attached to the file. So after the class I will be giving you guys a link to this slide so that you can make a copy and you can read for later. So this is serif, this is sans serif type of font, and sans serif are the most common type of font. Even me personally, I don't use any other font apart from sans serif. So for starter, I will advise you to start with sans serif only for UI UX design. Then later on when you realize that your design skills have much more improved, then you can dive into any other form of font such as display and serif. So sans serif don't have that extra stroke, hence
Sorry, I
the
can't see
name.
the slide.
You can't see the slide. Can you all see the slide?
Yes,
Yes, we
No, we
can. We
can't.
can.
I can see it.
Me, I can't see. I can't see it too.
Really?
What is happening is
Can see
his
it though.
presentation is now I'm seeing the one he's presenting on.
I'm seeing the
I can't
slide.
see the. I can't see the screen, please.
I can see it.
I can see it.
Uh-huh.
I can see it.
Probably in
I
their
can't
setting
see it.
actually.
Can you all see
It
my
should be their
screen now?
setting. Yes, we can.
No, I can't.
No,
You
I
can't.
Yes, I
can.
can.
If you can't,
No,
it's
I
I
can't.
can see
probably your
your screen.
network, or you need to download another version of. You need to download Google Meet on your phone because I can see it's fine.
Yeah, I'm also using
Maybe they
Google
should
on my phone,
maybe they
and I
should go
can
to
see.
their
Yeah.
settings.
Yes, I can see it now.
Can you all see my screen now?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Please off your camera. Don't reduce the bandwidth. Please off your camera as you are joining. All right. Thank you very much. So you can all see my screen now, right?
Yes.
You can.
All right. So this is sans serif type of font, like I said earlier. Sans serif type of font doesn't have this extended serif part as part of its component. As part of its component. And if you check like 80% of website
Please,
nowadays,
I
the
can't see it too.
you can't see my screen. Huh?
You can see your screen.
Alright. So if you check 80% type
Her
of
camera
website
is
today,
on. Probably she should have her camera. Her camera is on.
80% type of website today they all use sans serif. 80%. So when you are using font, I will advise you to start with what? Sans serif. And serif too is also great because of their, let me say, their classic look. If you are looking for, let me say, fashion website, most fashion websites use serif type of font, and just normal websites use sans serif. But if you are looking for something much more classy, elegant, then you should go for serif type of font. So the next type of font is display font. Any other font that doesn't fall in between serif and sans serif will definitely fall under display font. They don't have a specific form of look, they are just anyhow. Any form of font that you see that is it doesn't fall under serif or sans serif, they are what? They are display type of font. So most people use display type of font most especially for graphics design, and in UI UX design they say display type of font is not really advisable, but you can still use it. But I can assure you that it's not really advisable for elegant look and for cleaner design. So combining fonts together, if you are combining fonts together, me personally you can the last time I used two fonts in design I can't remember, I only use a single font. But there are some cases whereby you if I'm using two type of fonts I can use two type of sans serif font, or I should use two type of serif font. And also you can also combine the two because they, let me say, they work together. For example, if you are using for your headings, if you are using sans serif, then for your body text you can use serif font. Dat one will look much more elegant and much more eye appealing to users. So you can combine the two, any form of font, maybe serif or sans serif, and you can also combine display font to it depending on the kind of display font you are using. And whichever font you are using, always pass information across to the users. For example, if you are using display fonts, So this is Google Fonts. If you are using display fonts, so these are examples of display font on the website. So let's use this very particular font for instance, which is CRISPR. Type something like call me for you. Can you all see my screen?
You can
Yeah.
see it.
So
Yes, we
type
can.
something like I'm
Yes,
coming
you can,
for
you can.
you. Oh, I think I should do it in Figma. Figma will be better. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So for example, okay, let's give some kind of scenario whereby you are trying to tell someone that okay, I'm coming to your house. Let me say I'm coming to come and get you, like a wife. And probably maybe some kind of altercation already occurred between you guys. And you now tell the person, I'm coming for you. You told the person, I'm coming for you. And you write it with this very particular kind of font. What will the person think? I'm waiting for answers. What do you think the person will think? Writing I'm
It's,
coming for
scary.
you.
It's scary. It's
It is
scary.
As
It's
if
scary,
someone
scary.
right?
should kill him.
Okay,
Scary.
so what if you now use, let me even use,
Yes.
what if you now use something like this, I'm coming for you? What should the person think?
Love letter
Person,
now.
okay, this person is coming for me, my boyfriend is coming for me, that kind of stuff. So font actually communicates some kind of information. So that's the reason why you should know, like, okay, whatever, you should know, okay, this is the kind of
What
information I want
font
to
to
pass
use?
across. You said?
I said so we should know the font to use when
Yeah,
we are
know the
passing
font you
information
use
to that
when you are
person.
passing information
Yeah.
across. They all have meaning and they all have kind of scenarios that you can use them. You can actually research more about how to use font and how to work with
Please,
font.
what is the name of this front?
This font,
Yes.
Time New Roman.
Times New Roman.
Yeah, you should use it for your project in school. Okay, so that's about fonts, and you should also know the kind of combinations, or let me say how to combine fonts together. For example, you are using a font like Lauren Epsilon. Don't use ProPrint. So this is, let me say, okay,
I can't see your screen again. Oh.
can you see my screen? Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, I can.
I can see your screen. Oh.
Yes, I
Yes.
can see you cannot
The
see screen.
person who
No,
can
I'm
see my
following you.
screen,
I
I can
can't
see
see
it.
your
leave
I
and
can't
join
see your
again. Leave and join again. So what can you all tell me about these two fonts, like these two fonts? Once you come to this very particular page, what will users first of all see when it comes to hierarchy and the kind of information we are passing across? Users will first of all
We see
notice,
the
okay,
heading. We
yeah,
get
they will
Yes,
see
things
the
done.
we
headings, which
get
is
things done.
we get things done. Then any
We
other
see the
subtext
background.
will back up whichever information you are trying to pass
Sister
across.
Kazim, off your mic now.
Like the head is very, very bold and very clear to see than the other one.
Exactly, exactly. So I will be sharing a link for you to know much about hierarchy and text and everything. So if you are designing your body text, let me use zero.
Tell me, please.
Can you all mute yourself, please? So given this kind of scenario, I'm using same font, like I'm using same color for the heading and for the sub or for the body text. I'm using same color for the headings and the body text. What can you all tell me about this kind of design? Like, what do you feel about it? Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
what
can
do
hear
you
you.
feel about this kind of design? They both look alike. There is no difference. Like, despite the fact that they have different font size, this one is 24 pixel and this one is 20 pixel. They still look alike because what? Because they are using same color and they are using same font weight. So when it comes to design, you have to choose your your font style very well, and you have to give it a very clear type of hierarchy. So this is, I will show you something. So whenever you are designing, you should create a design system for all your designs, and this is a typical type of design system showing the different kind of font you can see on the
Once.
designs. You understand? So you should make sure you create a design system for all your designs and show clearly the kind of font you are using and their kind of rules. This one is not small, is not I didn't really work on this one. I think I should show you another file which is better. think I should show you another file which is, yeah, this is better. So can you all see this one? This is heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. There is no heading 4 for this part. Can you hear me? The
Yeah,
heading 1,
yeah, we
heading
can
2,
hear you.
heading 3, heading 5, heading 6 bold, heading 6 light, body text, and you can give body text different kind of variation based on whichever scenario you are using the body text. So that is how you declare all your fonts. So I am really paying much more emphasis on this font size, because if you are getting the fonts wrong and how to arrange them, how to visually arrange them in terms of color, in terms of hierarchy, then you are getting your whole design wrong and you will be making so much changes which will consume your time. So moving to the next one, which is color. We all know colors. Color in design pass some kind of information across, and they are mostly attention grabbing. For example, 60. So if you come to this very particular page, what will you first notice in the, or which letter will you first notice in the three letters?
The red color.
The red one.
Exactly. So
Letter L.
the reason why you are noticing the red color first, and then which one will you notice next?
This is Banks.
Okay,
The I'll notice the yellow color.
you notice the yellow color. So the reason why, okay, let me just give you the reason now. The reason why you will notice the red color first is because the red color has so much contrast, and it is so much attention grabbing. Whichever form of design you are using red, people will notice it because it represent, let me say, danger. It represents danger. Okay, like okay, red represents strength, anger, or danger in any form of design. If you are filling forms online, let me, for example, you want to open an account and then you enter a wrong email or password, what color will it change to? It will change to red, so that your attention can be diverted to that very particular point and you can make changes easily. So when you are designing, colors mean so much in design, and whichever color you are using represent some kind of information. And whenever you are designing in UI UX design, you should consider some certain set of people that have color blindness, because many people have color blindness. They see green as something, they see color differently, and some can't even see some certain type of color at all. So whichever color you are using, make sure that it works for all type of users. That is, your design is accessibility or accessible to any form of users. So color is a very tangible part of designs, and you should know how to combine it. So for you to know how to work more with colors, you can go to Adobe. Where is Adobe color? Yeah, this is it. So we have this very particular platform called color.adobe.com. You can see, you can learn how to like use different type of color with each other. You can check libraries for color combinations. You can check libraries for color combinations. You can check anything on Adobe Color, and you can also read, go to Medium and read some articles about how to use color. That one will be better, and you should make sure you do all these things before our next class if you really want to learn more, or if you think you can actually learn everything just on a go like this, no problem. But if you want to learn more, then you should go online and search more. So you can go to color.adobe.com. That's the name of the website, for you to pick colors and know how to use color together. So moving to the next one, which is what? Which is value. Value is a measure of darkness and lightness in any element or design. Value creates contrast and emphasis. For example, a light object against a dark background draws the viewer's eye. So this is what they are trying to explain. In this design like this, let me remove this tone. Let's assume we are using so color. This is a particular color and we are passing information across. Can you even see it at all?
No, not at all.
No.
So that is it. You can't notice things if you are using color of the same kind of value. and this is what I mean by color of the same kind of value. In design we have color and color contrast. If you should come here, any color above this half, can you all see my screen?
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
any color
Go
above
ahead,
this half has a low what? Has a low contrast, and any color below this half has a high contrast. So, and also if you are using no, if you are using color, can you all see this curve?
Yes.
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 Can you all see the way this curve is in this design? Any color that is tends to this very particular point has a very low contrast, but when it comes to
Contrast.
this very particular point has a very high contrast. For example, if you are using red, this is normally red color, and then you now move the red down a little bit, can you see how it's getting deeper? So
Yeah.
that's how color contrast work. And if you are using any, if you are designing, make sure that whichever background you are using, if the background is of high contrast, then any element on it should be what? Should be of low contrast. If the background is of low contrast, any element on it should be of high contrast, so that you be able to capture your information. So let me create a simple, okay, you know these are red is of high contrast, and we putting it on a black shape which is also of high contrast, we are not really passing the information we want to pass across. So let's now change it to something like this. Since we are using black and we added a what? A white overlay of 20, or let me say 50, 50% opacity. Can you all see it's not really working? Because the contrast of the background is still like manifesting on the new shape, despite the fact that we give it a 50% opacity. The black still have so much more effect on it. So let's now change it to 100% opacity, and you check this one to 0 to 40, and you create your button for your page. Can you all see this one go line in line? We wanted to use the black text for the button, but we can't just use it directly on our black shape. So we have to create an overlay, or let me say a background for the button that has a very low contrast. Is it clear?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's one of the reason
Yes.
why you have to know how to combine color contrast together. So for example, if you are changing this black, if you are changing it to something light, you realize that they are not really going together with each other. But let's now change this very particular white to something much more deeper. Can you all see our information coming out loud and clear?
Yes. Yes.
Exactly. So
Yes.
that's how you should know, okay, which color contrast go with each other and which one doesn't go with each other. And we have color combinations and gradients. So if you are using gradients, we have different type of gradients. Your gradient can be in any form of shape. For example, in CorrectDraw, you can just click on, there's one tool like that in CorrectDraw when I used to use it. You can just create different box on this shape and then click on a particular point and add a color to that very particular point, giving you some kind of weird gradient based on what you want. But if you are using gradient in Figma, we have linear gradient, we have radial gradient, we have angular and diamond. This is linear, straightforward, and you can add some other color or shapes along the way when you are creating linear gradient. You can give it opacity, any one you like, or this is radial gradient. It shows in form of a circular shape, and you can also move it. This is how I want it to look. You can change the position of any form of element you are adding in the middle and the likes. And we also have angular shape coming from a particular angle, angular gradient I mean, coming from a particular angle, and you also have diamond angle. Can you all see?
Yes.
Alright, so
Yes.
that's all about colour and values. Moving to the next one, which is size in design.
Design.
Okay, so when it comes to sizing in design, like I said earlier, size indicates how will I say it, size. If you are giving a particular object a bigger size in design, like I said earlier, it will grab much more attention than any other form of small size object in that very particular design. Just the way I use two text the other time. If this is BAM is what is 20 pixel, Lorem Ipsum will grab your attention first because of the what, the bigger size, and this is BAMs will grab the less attention size. So if you are using it this way, despite the fact that Lorem Ipsum is still at the top, the only reason why Lorem Ipsum can get a little much more attention is because of the what? Can someone tell me?
Color.
Color.
Exactly, because of the colour and because of the colour contrast. But excluding that, let's assume we are using something like this, you will definitely see this is BAMs first because of the size.
Okay.
So balance in design. Most good designs achieve visual balance by using symmetrical, asymmetrical or radial symmetrical around the visual center. So this is what they mean by balancing. If you are trying to create, how do I put it? If you are trying to create a design with some kind of balance of some kind of certain hierarchy, then you have to check the balance. What symmetrical balance means is that you have to make sure that the two are equal. E.g., we have this very particular button and you are creating another button. I now make this button smaller, and this one smaller, and the text smaller. What can you tell me about this very particular design? The only thing that will first of all come to your head is, well, like there is no balance because they are not symmetrical to each other, despite the fact that they are performing same kind of function. They are both buttons, they doesn't align, there is no correlation, and we are not following the same type. For example, let's even change the color of the design. Let's change this to, there is no balance between the two type of button in terms of shape, in terms of size, in terms of color, and in terms of kind of action users will tends to perform with the two type of button. So there is no balance, and we have to like maintain balance when it comes to design. So that is all about symmetrical shape, because we need two identical stuff, like two things that correlate with each other before they can be symmetrical. So buttons in design should be symmetrical. Heading one in all design should be the same. You can't use 60% or 60 pixel font for heading one and use another font for heading one in somewhere else, and use 50 pixel for font for heading one in somewhere else. So they have to balance, and there are some things that are asymmetrical, that is the two can't be the same when it comes to balance. And also we have radial, that is indicating stuff like, or let me say, try to pass across balance information in form of a radial form. And we attach a link to it so that you can read more about symmetrical, asymmetrical, and visual and radial symmetric type of balance. Moving to the next one, which is alignment in design. So when you are designing, many of you would have noticed the way I'm trying to like design, and for example the way I'm trying to move this shape and waiting for it to align at the edge. Can you all see?
Yes, yes, sir.
So that is alignment. When you are aligning design, your design must align with each other, must like work hand in hand. If you are arranging your design in any form, okay, for example, let me even do this. Let me do this. Let me go to file data as. So can you all see this, the way I did the whole page? This, all these components, or let me say all these elements, they are what? They are aligned to each other. I don't even really align this one, but like visually you can see that they are all aligned to the left hand side. So let us change the way it look like, and let's see, maybe the stuff will still make sense. Maybe you do this one like this, and then this one come here without any form of alignment in the whole design. How do you perceive this? How do you see the design? Like how were you able to like interpret it? Does it really make sense?
No, it does not.
Exactly.
It won't
So
look.
It does
that's
not.
what alignment do. When you are doing
It's not
design,
very.
yeah, are you saying something? So alignment, sorry, someone talking.
You can continue, sir. You can
Alright.
continue.
So alignment like plays a very huge role when it comes to design. The more you are able to align your designs and give it a form of consis ten t margin and padding, don't worry, you will know all these terminologies later today. Consis ten t margin and padding, if you are giving your design a very good alignment, then you will be able to pass across your information in a symmetrical order, in a straight format order, in a one after the other order. Just the way I did this, first of all I want you to notice the what? The UI UX design master class, and then you can also read the text. So one thing that will also grab users at ten tion is what? 100% free, and also my picture. Then after reading dis three they can go ahead by reading, okay, what are they going to learn, since it's 100% free. They already saw the topic and they already saw the 100% free, which is what will grab their at ten tion. Then moving to the next stuff, which is what they really want to learn. That is how you should like align your designs. Make sure you give it some kind of alignment, and make sure that your, let me say, your the information you are trying to pass across is well aligned in such a way that users won't be frustrated when they are reading your design or when they are looking at your design. So moving on to the next one, which is repetition in design. Like I said earlier, buttons. If you are doing repetitions in design, if you are using buttons, most especially in website design, your buttons must be the same. If you are using an hypertext, that is a text linking to another platform or a particular link, then your buttons should be the same. Your headings should be what? Should be the same. That is what repetition is all about. If you are repeating anything, make sure that it's identical in design.
Okay.
Moving next to the next one, which is proximity. So what proximity actually do is that it maintains, let me say, some kind of relationship between elements that works together. Yeah, it maintains some kind of relationship between elements that works together, that like coincide with each other, that are working hand in hand. That is what proximity is all about. And your design must have a very good proximity when you are trying to combine colours, things, elements in the design. Make sure that they actually work hand in hand and they are not actually working against each other. And contrast, I think I've already explained what contrast is all about. Contrast is the kind of how let me say how catchy your design is in terms of shape and in terms of colour. That is contrast. How people were able to notice it. If something have a very high contrast, then they were able to notice it quickly and it's visual appealing. But if it has a very low contrast, then we are not really paying much more emphasis and we are not really passing so much information across with any element that has a low contrast. And space in design, we have two type of space, which is negative and positive spacing. So let's go to this platform. Yeah. So let's go to this landing hero section specifically. I give this very particular space a margin of what? Can you all see? Margin of what? 80 pixel. I gave it a margin of 80 pixel. And if you should come here to, you will see same thing. If you should come here to, you will see same thing. And if you should click any form of element inside this particular section, then you realize that I give them same spacing of 80 pixel. And these are type of this this can be called, let me say, yeah, it can be called positive spacing because you did it to give some kind of look to your design. So positive spacing are spacing that you give intentionally, like the spacing you give to your designs that is needed. If I'm creating this landing page and I'm doing something like this, I'm coming, is loading. So can you all see my screen?
Yes, sir.
I
Yeah.
created this landing page. I didn't give it any positive spacing at the left hand side. How does it look?
Okay.
Horrible, right?
It's not really
It's not really
clear.
visual appealing because I'm not giving it any form of positive spacing.
Exactly.
So come to think of the kind of scenario, come to think about this. Yeah, I give this one some kind of spacing here and everything is showing what? Is showing pretty fine. Just the way I intend it to show. So and all this kind of spacing are what? Are positive spacing.
Okay.
Any margin or padding you are giving your elements are what? Are positive spacing. But when it comes to negative spacing, when it comes to negative spacing, you might be creating which kind of example can I give? I'm coming. Okay. So if you realize I give a spacing of how many pixels? 64 pixels between this element and this element. These are not padding because we only have padding here and padding here, and I intentionally did this one because I want to create some kind of positive space with negative spacing so that the elements are, for example, okay, let me use this. If I'm merging this one at the top, if I'm bringing it up here without giving it any form of space, can you all see how jam packed it is? So that's the reason why we need negative spacing to give all our elements in design some kind of breathing space. All the links here, if I give it zero margin, can you see I give it zero margin? about us is not different from portfolio, from testimonial, from anything. Everything is just meshed together. There is no like negative spacing between them. So you have to create negative spacing to make sure that your design comes out the way you want it to be, so that there will be nothing like, let me say, jam packed or any form of stuff in your design. That's the necessity for negative spacing. And moving on to the next one is designing with what? With Figma. So are you all set? Are you all with your computer?
Oh,
Yep.
Can you all hear me?
No.
not everyone. No, we don't. Some of us not got in the system.
Shebi I said you should
Yes,
borrow
I
I
can
now.
hear you.
So
Huh?
Figma cannot be done on phone.
Yeah, so I'm with my sister.
Sorry.
So actually I posted this thing on our group since days ago, that everyone should at least get a laptop for this class. If you don't have, you should borrow. So I don't think we can be really waiting for any form of any person, because I will definitely give you guys assignment on that very particular Figma sef today.
Hi.
So, and before we start Figma, before we move into Figma, do you have any question? If you know you have any question, you can raise your hand.
Sorry, I have a question. Oh. I'm sorry, I have a question. Can I ask?
Yeah, ask.
Okay, so this one that you have just done now, which software did you use? It's not Figma that. Okay, you're just giving us
I'm just trying to
what
explain the design foundation and all
using what?
terminologies you
Is it
should use.
Figma that used to explain it? Is it Figma?
Yeah, I'm using Figma.
All right. I just you showed us now that so we want to go into Figma now. So I was like, what were we into before if it was not Figma?
Yeah, all the
Sorry,
I
I
don't
also have a
use
question.
even designing logo or any form of stuff. I use
Sorry,
Figma.
please. I
All
want to
right, thank
ask
you
a
very much,
question.
Mr. Ayobami. You can proceed.
All right. Any
Sorry, I
other
want to ask a
question?
question.
All
I
right.
want to ask a
Yeah, that's
question.
the question.
The Figma, are we starting from the scratch?
Yeah, you are starting from the scratch. I will introduce you to the interface and any stuff you need to know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next
Um,
question.
I was not um I was not here from the beginning, sha, but I joined in when you're talking about types of fronts. I
Okay.
don't know if actually maybe I missed out before you started the front. Is there any
Yeah, you
where you
definitely
start?
missed out. Yeah, you missed out. Like I said earlier, I don't use African time. Like my time is so much precious to me. I have a lot I need to do, but I still created time and I was here exactly till 3 o'clock. So I don't believe anybody have any excuse not to be here. But
Also, I
don't
have a
worry,
question.
the slide, if you check the slide very well, I explain everything in the slide and everything that we need to get started. So once you read the slide, you will definitely understand everything about the class today.
All right, please, I have a question.
Alright.
I saw everything you explained now, but why when you were showing us the last page of one website like that, there was this display where it was changing from website, mobile apps to
Bro, bro,
well,
bro, you never sabi Figma, you are talking about animation. So chill,
okay. I
guy.
just wanted to ask if you because you didn't even talk about that. That's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to show you something. That's not normal design in Figma and I added some animations. So don't worry, you will learn everything.
All right, thank you.
You are welcome. Alright, anything else? Any question else?
I want to ask question.
Okay.
Sorry. You talk about spaces in design, the negative design and the negative space in design, positive space in design.
Sorry,
But
passive. Passive. It should be passive, not positive.
okay. I actually don't get the is it passive or positive design. Like I actually not get that spaces of positive design or we say
So,
passive design.
okay. What is it
Okay.
called? Passive kind of spacing are the kind of spacing you are giving your design from scratch. maybe you want to create a website like this now, you already gave it a certain type of, okay, you'll be using this kind of spacing for margin when you are creating your layout. There's what you call, yeah, if you cannot see, you can see that there are like 12 different triangles on, or rectangles, straight rectangles on this particular artboard. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You can see. So I'm trying to normally, if I let me use something else to explain. Okay, so for example, the kind of spacing I'm giving this whole particular platform is what? Is 40 pixel kind of passive spacing, because I want to give it a uniform margin and a uniform padding. Whenever the developer are coding, can you hear me? Whenever the developer
Yeah.
are coding a particular platform, then they must see, they must have this kind of, well, you can't be coding for this social component. Can you hear me? You can't be coding for this component and then this one have a specific kind of passive spacing, and this one have something else, this one have something else, this one have something else. That's a very huge work for developer. So if you are creating some kind of unique spacing, both for passive and negative spacing, negative spacing are spacing in between
Your mic.
your text. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yeah,
you, sir.
negative spacing are spacing between your text, between two text or anything, but passive spacing are the normal spacing generally for your components, spacing between components and artboards. So that's spacing, that's passive spacing, and that's negative spacing. I hope you understand now.
Understand.
Alright,
Right?
any other question?
Proceed.
No question?
Good evening, Hall. Good evening, Hall.
Alright,
Good evening.
yeah,
It's not like a question, but it's like a suggestion. Like I think everybody should put their microphone on mute so we can be able to hear what you're saying. So I don't know. Some persons here, the microphone is still on, so I don't know.
alright. Sorry, please mute yourself. Kazim Hafiz,
Right. Let's move into
Akinde
Figma.
Olamide and Akinde Joseph. Please mute yourself. Thank you very much. We are moving on to the next one, which is what? Figma. Many of you have been anticipating about Figma. What did they use Figma for? So Figma is a collaborative web
Kazim.
application. Can you hear me? Is someone talking?
Yes, Kazim has not his mic.
Kazim, I will remove you, please.
Please, I can't see your screen. Oh,
Bro Kazim,
please, I can't see your screen.
yeah, I stopped sharing. Can you all see my screen now?
You can actually mute
Yes.
anybody you want to mute the
I
record.
will
It's just
remove
mute
him,
you, the
that's
record
it.
on it.
I don't have premium Google Meet, not to talk of meeting him. So okay, Oshadare, please can you mute yourself? Alright, thank you. So moving on to the next one, which is Figma, and that's the main deal here. Figma is a collaborative web application for interface design with additional offline features enabled by desktop application from macOS and Windows. So basically dis definition is trash to me, because that's what Figma themselves have. But Figma is a platform whereby you can use to collaborate and design your interface for any form of product, any form of web and mobile products like mobile application, web application and website. If you want to design website, mobile app and web applications, then you should use Figma. Figma is, let me say, I think Figma is the best tool. I started with Adobe XD, but I basically prefer Figma now because Figma has so much features and so much things to do compared to Adobe XD. So also you can use Figma to prototype your animations, but there are limits to prototyping in both Figma and Adobe XD. But when it comes to Framer X, there's a platform called Framer X. If you go to Framer X, you can use Framer X, and let me say InVision, yeah, we have InVision. You can use InVision for your prototyping. So those are built mainly for prototype and animations. But Figma too can do animations based just based on how you think and how you think the animation should be. So Figma can do animation, Adobe XD can do animation, but there are limits to it. And if you check companies such as Google, if Google are trying to produce an application and they want to prototype it, they use much more advanced tools, and basically they will even have tools they are using that are not widely available for any form of user, that will be used by Google developers or Google designers only. But also you can use Adobe After Effects for your animations, but those are for pros. If you don't know how to use Adobe After Effects, you can go and learn that one too on your own and start your motion design career and animation design career separately. But any form of animation we'll be doing in this course, we'll be using Figma for it. So that's about Figma. Let's go to the Figma interface. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.